first of all, thank you for everybody being able to make it on the Zoom tonight as we progress with this locker room talk. Really excited about it, and really proud of the work that us as the fellows have been able to put together. Tonight we have Siani going, and I know she has an amazing workshop plan for us. So I hope everybody can be incorporated and take something away from it. And with that being said, Siani.
Yeah. Like Christian said, thank you all for being here and taking the time out of your Sunday night to do this with me. So I will start the presentation. Okay, so we will get started. So today's workshop with the locker room hours is going to be titled Holistic Wellness, the Mind, Body, and Soul in the Lens of Black Student Athletes. So as Christian said, I'm Siani, for those of you that don't know me. I am currently on the track and field team at Temple University, and I'm a Black Student Athlete Fellow. So these are just some reminders for the workshop. It's just to lower the expectation and the pressure of what we're going to be talking about and doing today. So the goal is to understand that we're all equal and we're one. It's not really supposed to be a teacher student kind of thing. It's more of a collaborative thing. We'll all just collaboratively share, and you just share and participate as you feel inclined to. So with that being said, just lower all your expectations. You know, it's already a good thing that you're here. Find a comfortable space if you're not already, like sit comfortable. You want to be in a physically and mental space for what we're going to be talking about and discussing. So try to release your tension and your uneasiness. And like I said, engage in a way that feels correct for you. Listen, share, just take it all in. And ask any questions along the way, because we're going to be talking about 3 different topics today. So. Okay, so let's do an icebreaker. So originally we were going to do breakout rooms, but because there's a small amount of you guys, let's just kind of share openly. So you can pick which one you want to do. What's one thing you're grateful for today, or share something that was the highlight of your day today. So you can drop it in the chat, or we can talk as a group, whatever you guys feel inclined to do. I can go first. Highlight of my day today. For those of you that know Pennsylvania, we have the Pocono Mountains. So I just came back from a birthday trip. My brother turned 29, so we went to the Poconos for the weekend, and it was a great way for me to practice what I'm about to be preaching today. So the highlight was just being around family and friends and just practicing my wellness. So anyone else that wants to go can go.
I can speak on it. Honestly, I'm just thankful for my health. I feel like I've been talking to a lot of my like older homies. Got over my LBs today, and we were kind of like speaking on the experiences that a lot of our former classmates and a lot of guys who came in with us are experiencing, especially like around health. And I had a rough road, but compared to a lot of other people, I'm definitely blessed. So just being able to wake up, take a breath, and walk down the street is a blessing in itself.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to go?
Yes, I would also like to share. Kind of similar to Christian, I'm really grateful for my friends right now. You know, there's some tough times here and there, but my friends always keep me uplifted. Kind of give me joy when I'm not so happy. But I'm also grateful for the community I've been engaged with now. Just personally, I've been going to church more, been a part of some Bible studies. So grateful for where my faith is right now. That's really been just helped me on this journey called life. So grateful for my friends and faith and community. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? So we will move on to the next slide. So, okay. So this is a little bit of background on me for those of you that don't know me. So what I'm basically sharing with you is how this pertains to what I'm going to be talking about. So as I put here, understanding the importance of health beyond my athletic abilities was a journey of obstacles for me. Growing up, I wasn't really educated on health literacy besides what was taught in school. And we all know that in class, when we're in high school or middle school, even, it's just like the basics biology, but we're never really taught how to take care of ourselves in a wellness, holistic way. And I'll explain what holistic health means and wellness. So I actually was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome at 18, which completely shifted the way that I approach my health. And we have this perception that just because we're an athlete that we're healthy. But as Petal shared in previous presentations, and also just knowing that your health is just beyond what you can perform and what you can produce. So this led to me kind of having some struggles with being in Division I athletics. In undergrad, I went to Marquette University, which on top of my health struggles was really a struggle that I didn't understand in terms of my health and how that would impact my performance until I had no choice but to pay attention to it. I actually experienced a lot of like dizziness, fatigue, like passing out, almost passing out at practice. So I had to undergo a series of like health exams to really understand what I was dealing with. And honestly, what the diagnosis ended up being, besides the polycystic ovarian syndrome, is that my nervous system was not regulated. And the reason why I knew that is because I got an MRI, I got a sleep study test done, all that came back negative. And so my neurologist was like, you know what that means, right? It's that your body is trying to honestly cope and process all the things that it has gone through in the past. So that's when I tried to start educating myself on health literacy and trying to understand what it really means to truly be healthy besides just being a Division I athlete. So then I began to basically intersect my future aspirations, which as of now is to be a clinical psychologist and conduct research, and then what I'm currently experiencing in my own body. And so I found ways that my work was influencing the way that I wanted to live my life. So, meditation, mindfulness, which we'll get all into that later. And this led me to pursuing a master's of public health right now, currently at Temple. And for me, I never really understood the importance of health until I really asked myself why. Why is it important to be healthy, or how do we do something? And so in school, when we're learning about biology, we're learning about how to take care of ourselves in the curriculum sense. Um, for me, I never understood like, well, why do we need to do that? So I start digging into the body more and figuring out like the body is a beautiful thing and we should appreciate it more. But in order to appreciate it, we have to understand what it does and how it reacts to certain stimuli. So we'll get into that. So we're going to talk about what holistic wellness is. We're going to define it, and then we're going to talk about how it pertains to all of us being a Black student athlete, or even if you're not a Black student athlete, just pertaining to wellness and how you can take care of yourself. So to be holistic means to consider the whole of something rather than just a part. So it's to understand that everything is interconnected, which we'll talk about. And as athletes, we are surrounded by the belief that our performance is the highest thing, but many people do not take time to understand what goes into performance. So I'm sure many of us that are athletes know we always hear that saying, mind over matter, or the mind is powerful. But the mind is only a small portion of what goes into overall performance. So you have the body, the soul, the mind, and then your talent, which got you to doing athletics at this level. All of that is interconnected. So you have to understand that if you're not treating one area correctly, that this may seep into your performance, into other areas, into your life, like it did mine when I was a freshman. And I was like, what is going on? Why am I having all of these ailments and almost passing out? And it's because I was not in tune with understanding what my mind and my body was processing, and even my soul at the time. So, okay, so we're going to do an exercise to start with the mind. So we're going to practice decluttering the mind, which is the most powerful organ in our bodies. So if you can, with your phone, scan this, or you can type this in. It might be easier to just scan the QR code right there. And we're just going to do some exercise real quick. Let me know if anyone has any trouble with getting onto that. And thank you so much, Art, for saying that. Those words mean everything to me. So thank you for being here. Okay, everyone having an okay time getting in there? So I'm going, if you could see my screen okay, it should be a presentation of words, right? That says brain dump. If you can see that, someone give me a thumbs up so I know.
Actually, can you go back?
Okay,
I
you can
was I
see
was
it?
typing it in.
Okay, perfect. You want the QR code?
Yes, the
Okay,
QR.
got you. Okay, I'll stay on here for a second.
Appreciate it.
Give everyone a couple minutes just to get that code in. And if you're already kind of transitioning to the screen, the whole idea is to do something called a brain dump. So we're just going to put random things that are circulating in our mind right now. Try to in silence kind of ask yourself, like, what am I feeling right now? There's no right or wrong answer, and all of it is anonymous. So no one's going to be able to know that you said it. You could put whatever it is you want, but the idea is to get everything out of your brain that you're currently feeling or experiencing or thinking. Before I switch the side, does everyone have the QR code okay? Just so I know. Okay. And I can also put the link in the chat, I believe, just in case we have more people. Okay. That's the link. I'm sorry. That's the link right there. And this is the password. Okay, so I'm going to switch my screen now just so we can start to look what everyone's saying. Okay. So here we go. Let's look at some stuff that people are adding. So we have money, we have overwhelmed, we have Renata, sleep, donuts, food, work, love, black, peace. These are awesome. Okay. I'm going to encourage to write a little bit more. I know our brains run very fast. I know we could think of some more things to put in there. Just anything. There's no right or wrong answer. Give everyone a couple more seconds. Isn't it cool to see how it just like adds as you go on? Christian has a big head. President, money, tired, LeBron, work, love, anxious, overwhelmed, appreciative, black, my family, ideas, anime, health. I love all of these. So we can keep adding. I'll give everyone like one more minute. School. Awesome. Football, sleep, being exhausted. I feel that. Next steps. I need a job. I feel all of these. Okay. Okay. Appreciation, applications. Awesome. So this is actually an exercise that you can implement into your everyday. Tank Davis, I see. So we can keep adding and we can check back in a second if people want to keep adding to this. But I want to go back to the presentation just so we could talk about what's the importance of this. So this is actually an exercise that some psychologists recommend that you do because we're waking up every day. Most times we're in our bed thinking about what we have to do. People recommend, psychologists, scientists recommend that you just sit and open up a journal, even in your phone if you have to, and just write everything that's clouding your mind because you are not understanding how much of a weight that is you're taking onto your day with that. So if you're constantly thinking about what you have to do, this can impact your sleep, this can impact your focus. And it's not the idea that everything that you're writing down on this list is going to be solved, but it's the idea that, okay, at least I have an outlet for it. At least I have a place that I can release this information for. So that's the importance of the brain dump. Okay, so yeah, that's just a random exercise that you can do, but I want this workshop to be more of an interactive experience versus me just preaching at you. So I'm going to try to show you some things along the way that you can implement into your everyday. So here we have some basic things about the mind, basic knowledge. So as most of our performance is mental, we have to understand that what we tell our minds is powerful. So what we tell our minds can stick with us for as long as you want it to mean. So basically that means that as long as you tell yourself a certain belief, there's no construct of time that will really process what you're saying to yourself. So what I mean, if you have this belief that I'm not good at math or I'm not a good sprinter, it's not that in 2 years you're going to believe different. It's that you have to work to believe different, if that makes sense. So we have this expectation that with time, things are going to be processed and healed. But if you do not do the work to reframe your mind and your beliefs and your perceptions, the belief will still hold weight, even in a subconscious way. So we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is what you do on a daily basis. And then your subconscious mind is your brain basically operating on a schedule that we're not even conscious of. That's the whole point. So your subconscious mind could be believing these negative beliefs, but your conscious mind is like, no, I can do it. No, I can be a good sprinter. But unless you do the work to understand why you believe you're not a good sprinter or why you're not good at math, it will not process, if that makes sense. So I want to also frame this and why this is important in the Black student athlete light. As Black student athletes, we constantly have pressures of not only being Black, and then you add being a student, and then you add being a Black student athlete on top of that. Those are three intersectional identities, and then whatever gender or sex you identify as, that's four. So this understanding of intersectional identity teaches us that it's complex. And oftentimes, because it is complex, it often goes ignored or we don't have space for it. So that's why I'm so grateful that all of you are here today. And I found a safe space in Black Student Athlete Summit because before I did not know how to deal with these complexities or these weights. And actually, a term that I learned at the summit this year was called racial battle fatigue. And that term basically encapsulates what it means to be in a predominantly white institution or career-centered thing or work or your everyday. And you're experiencing these interactions that you don't understand how your body is processing them. To your mind, it's like, okay, we can ignore that. We can ignore some implicit bias or some racism, but your body is a completely different sector. So your body can be internalizing all that. This impacted me in my undergrad when I basically was experiencing countless just like waves of fatigue. I would basically just go to practice, go to class, and like sleep the rest of the day. And I didn't understand how much my environment was influencing me. We have this perception that because we're student athletes, I do understand, I'm sure all of you understand too, that it's a privilege, but that doesn't mean that your health should be ignored or, just because you have a scholarship or even if you're not on scholarship, that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to feel how you want to feel. You're getting education in return, but it's important that you feel supported and you feel safe. And at the time, my body did not feel safe. So we have here why intersectional identity matters. And then it's very important to find something to do outside of your sport. It could be active or non-active. Like me, I meditate, I journal, I try to do things in nature because you have to find almost like an identity sense. You have to find who you are besides what you produce. So you want to try to find something called low impact activities. So this could be walking, journaling, meditating, art, whatever it is that feeds your soul. You want to make sure that you're creating a safe space and an outlet for that, and that reaching out when you're not feeling okay is a powerful thing to do. It's never, never a bad thing to reach out to someone. It doesn't have to be, a team doctor, a friend, but listen to your body and understand when it's not feeling supported, or you're like, why am I more tired than usual? Or why does this feel so heavy today? Or I can't explain how I'm feeling, but my body just doesn't feel like it's producing what it usually does. Listen to that. That's a voice that you do not want to ignore. So then lastly, we'll talk about brain health. So what you're consuming, think about with social media and how prevalent it is today, what you're consuming on an everyday basis. Is this hurting you or is this helping you? And know that it's okay to take breaks from the social world. And it feels like a big obstacle before you do it, but sometimes disconnecting, you realize that you don't need a lot of that stuff that's feeded to us in the media. And then music as well. You want to pay attention to what you're consuming. Is what you're listening to feeding your soul? Is it making you feel negative about yourself? Is it reinforcing positive things? Like all of this is really powerful in terms of the mind. So, okay. So I want you guys to take what you did in that exercise with the brain dump and try to remember it, but we're going to try to find a way to release all that next by talking about the body. So you can turn your cameras off if needed. I don't know if anyone has it on, but if it is, you can turn it off or keep it on, up to you. And before we start this breathing exercise, can anyone in the chat or out loud tell me why breathing is important? And we always hear like, just breathe. But can anyone tell me why it's actually important to breathe? Go back to the chat real quick.
It gets us like oxygen to our body. So it gets us oxygen to our brain and also to just like all of our muscles, which in turn, like I guess, gives us like the energy we need. The more oxygen, the better, obviously.
Yes, that's a great response. Thank you. I see help you relax. I see lower our heart rates and our stress response. That's a great response. I see you'll die if you don't, calms the nerves. These are all great responses. The last one is just funny because it's technically true. Okay, so we'll talk about why it's important. So there is science behind breathing, as Tori and others commented on. So your brain, or your breath is like a remote control. So in order for you to slow it down, your breath has to reflect that. So if you're constantly breathing very fast, your body is going to replicate that. If you breathe slow, it's going to do the opposite. So learning to control your breathing means controlling how you feel. So I know we're told breathe when you're stressed or when you're anxious or in times of frustration or anger, but this is actually teaching your mind and your body how to connect and how to take a stimuli, which can be an experience, and how to regulate it. So, as we also talked about, this releases stress hormones, which cortisol is very important. I want to share something about cortisol. Cortisol is actually released in the morning. So, your highest level of cortisol is released in the morning naturally. That's just what the body produces. So, I know for me, I struggle with that because PCOS is a hormonal condition and I produce excess amount of cortisol already. So waking up at 6, 7 a.m. and then you're going to do two practices back to back, that's an overload of cortisol, right? So I never understood the importance of finding ways to lower my cortisol after. We can't control what time our practice is. That's up to coach, that's up to our trainers, all that kind of stuff. But what we can control is the space that we make for ourselves after we practice. So this can all help to reduce tension, anxiety, especially with performance. We'll talk about visualization and why that's important to do sometimes before games or meets. But it's very important that you're finding ways to lower down that cortisol because if not, it could just make you feel like you're in a constant state of stress, which is not good for the body. So it also helps to clear the mind and helps improve focus. So think about this. Imagine starting your day with the brain dump and you're doing a little bit of mindfulness and some meditation. That sounds like a lot, but it doesn't have to be a 30-minute thing. It could literally all take 5 minutes, 30-second brain dump, practice some mindfulness. What's one thing I'm grateful for today? And then you could do some meditation, which meditation is not necessarily separate than breathing. Your meditation can be your breathing. And then on a scientific level, this activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So this also helps you to relax and recover, which then helps you be able to perform the way you want to perform. Okay, so we're going to breathe. This is going to be powered through one of my favorite apps called Open. It's basically like a holistic wellness app where you can create friends on it or you can just be offline. But they actually have a studio in Venice, California, where you can go and get sound bath meditations. You can just breathe. Whatever it is that you're looking for, they have. But they have this basically online community where you can breathe, meditate, brain dump, whatever it is that you want to do, they have. I'm sorry, whatever it is you're looking for, they have. So, because we're talking a lot about stress and cortisol, and we're talking about brain dumps, I picked a meditation, breathing exercise for about 5 minutes that we can do that reflects directly what we're talking about. So, feel free to close your eyes, turn your camera off, but we're actually going to breathe right now. So, be in a space where you can receive what we're about to do, I would say.
This is a breath that will help you calm down. Relax yourself by inhaling through the nose for 4 counts and exhaling through either the nose or the mouth for 8, whichever you prefer. Let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. Exhale. Exhale. Continue this breath on your own. Let's take one last natural breath in together and out. See you next time.
Okay. Hopefully you guys are not asleep because that is a very calming meditation. But I want you guys also to be in a space where you can receive what else we're going to talk about tonight. But does anyone want to talk about how that made them feel? How this music made you feel? Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel tired? Anything is acceptable. You could put it in the chat. You could share whatever you want to share.
That was very relaxing. I felt really relaxed after doing that.
Felt relaxed. How did you feel like your body responded to everything?
I feel like it helped my body like feel better. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I feel like I felt a little more tense before doing it, but then afterwards I kind of just like felt very chill and like, I don't know, it just made my body feel better.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share?
I would like to share.
Okay. Go ahead.
It was very relaxing, a little too relaxing. I'm not gonna lie. I dozed off a couple times.
You dozed off.
Yeah, but it was like tranquility, right? It was just I felt at peace, namaste, type deal.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing.
So that was cool.
Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, my body felt a lot lighter. I don't know how to describe that, but yeah. But I couldn't focus. But other than that, it was good.
We'll talk about that too, but okay. One last person want to share.
I can share. I started getting a little sleepy. My sleep started to get a little low. Cause I don't know, I didn't know I was tense, and then I started breathing out, and then like every time I breathe out, my shoulders started getting lower, and I knocked back for 2 seconds. But you know,
Thank you for sharing. Yes, so I want to comment on what everyone's saying. Well, first of all, you guys should all be proud of yourself because you did the work. It's not often that we could talk about how meditation works, but unless we reinforce it, you're not going to understand how your body feels. So I'm very proud of everyone for doing that and doing the work today. It can be very hard to focus in meditation, and the idea is that it's not supposed to be perfect. You're not supposed to have an empty mind. The whole point is that you get to the place where you have an empty mind, and it could take some practice. That's why I personally like guided meditations, because I feel like if I did a non-guided meditation, my mind would wander all over the place. But it can be hard, but this is something that doesn't necessarily have to take 30 minutes. And that's why I wanted to have you guys practice that today, to show you how easy it is to regulate your nervous system, and to also understand that your body is its own organ, own operating organ separating from the mind. So you might feel tense, but you might not know it. And your mind might be like, no, 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 I'm good, I'm good. But then until you take the space and the time to be in tune with your body, you're not going to understand what you might be feeling. So that was the whole point of that. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, so that's what I was saying. It doesn't have to be intensive or time consuming. It could be 2 minutes out of your day. But remember this moment and how it made you feel next time you want to practice some breathing. Okay, so we'll talk about the soul, which is the last area we'll focus on today. So protect your peace. What is serving you and what is not? We'll talk about that. Okay, so can anyone tell me what an affirmation is? And then we'll talk about what your why is. You can put it in the chat. You can say it out loud. It's okay if you don't know.
I think my why probably is like,
Oh, Petal, you're on mute. You have to, excuse me, unmute yourself. You went on mute.
sorry, I like literally just got like a call. Sorry. I think my why is that like kind of just like achieving my goals. Like I know that I like want to work towards things. So like just having that in the back of my mind whenever I'm doing something just like kind of keeps me going.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else, you can share what you think an affirmation is, or you can share what your why is, whichever one you want to. Dr. Walker, I love that. Trying to make the world a better and more humane place for more people. I love that.
Thank you. It's like I like it because I know I'll die and I can still be working towards that goal towards the last days of my life.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So I can share my why. My why is personally to make people feel seen, whether if it's the 13, 12 of you here today or on a pan, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of platform, but I just want to make people feel appreciated and seen. And so I want my affirmations to reflect that. An affirmation is something, a belief that you tell yourself. And it might sound silly what we're going to do next. We'll talk about why it's important, but in order for you to practice what you preach, you have to believe what you're saying. So it's easy to say, I am beautiful, but unless you believe that you truly are beautiful, those words are meaningless. So what can you do to reinforce that idea of you being beautiful? So in the sense of your why, what can you do in an affirmation sense to reinforce your why and your reason and your purpose is what we'll talk about. And then Josh said, being a good influence and have positive impact on others' lives. I've loved that. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so we're going to practice some affirmations. So, like I said, are you believing what you preach? You can turn your camera off if you need it, mute yourself. I would like one brave soul to try to pick any affirmation on this board and say it out loud. And before you say it, take a deep breath and write it in. But you can pick anyone you want on this board. Anyone that wants to be brave enough to say an affirmation out loud can go.
I am worthy of rest, recovery, and peace.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. Anyone else want to go?
I define who I am. No title, statistic, or expectation can take that from me.
Thank you. Anybody else want to go?
I honor my mind, body, and soul because all of me matters.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I am comfortable in my skin. I love who I am and everything I have become.
Thank you. Anybody else want to go? So if you're not going to say it out loud, I invite you to put your camera on mute. I'm sorry, I invite you to put your microphone on mute and turn your camera off and pick one and actually say it out loud right now. It might not seem like it's purposeful, but it's very intentional. You say it out loud, your mind catches a signal and your body also catches a signal of what you're saying. So we're going to basically do reinforcement with our body and our minds. So I will pick one and I will say one out loud. I honor my mind, body, and soul because all of me matters. And when you say it with intention. Say it like you're actually trying to invite those words into your body and your mind. I'll give everyone like one more second. Okay. Thank you for those that participated. Okay, so these affirmations can be written down by hand. I think it's very intentional to write something down by hand versus using your phone or iPad or even your computer, because when you actually have the physical sensation of writing something, it also connects to your mind and your body more than you think. And I actually have an affirmation written right here. I don't know if it's going to show, but I have this on my vanity. It says, what can I do for future Siani? So when I wake up, this is one of the first things that I see because I want to be constantly thinking about what can I do, not to improve myself, but like what can I do to support myself in that given moment. I'm sharing maybe even a contract because I was meeting with my sports psychologist at Temple this week last week. And she told me, she's like, I actually want you to make a contract to yourself. And it was just a positive affirmation contract. And she gave me kind of an outlet an outline of what it looks like. And she's like, you have to go and put in there what applies to you. And you sign that contract, and it sounds silly, but you're honoring yourself in that way. You are making a promise to yourself that you're going to honor those affirmations. And like I said, it's more powerful than we may think. Eventually, when I see this every day, I'm constantly thinking in my mind, what can I do for my future self? If I'm looking at my contract every day, I'm thinking, what can I do for my future self? And also, as we're talking about soul, you want to pay attention to what does not feel in alignment with you. And as we're talking about mind, body, and soul, notice how you feel after certain interactions or how you feel after certain competitions, like whatever it may be that applies to you. Just pay attention to how you feel. You might feel anxious, you might feel stressed, you might feel tired, you might feel fatigued. You want to create that space to really not partake in anything that does not align with your daily affirmations or the practices that we identified earlier on. Okay, so these are going to be our main takeaways from today, and we'll open up the floor for any questions after. But yes, I want to really emphasize the importance of health, and I'm studying Masters of Public Health right now, and we learned that the average health literacy of an American is on average of a sixth grader. So that means that society isn't necessarily not going to give you the tools to take care of yourself, but to go as in depth of what we did today, it can be a little bit stigmatized to do some of the stuff we did. So a lot of what we did today is more coinciding with Eastern medicine. Western medicine is more like, okay, we're going to go to the doctor, we're going to get a diagnosis, and we're going to treat it. And people have this negative connotation when it comes to Eastern medicine because it's like, oh, there's no science behind it. But we just talked about the science behind breathing. And it's not to say that you should not use Western medicine at all. It's that they both should be practiced. It's that you should try to do what you can in the Eastern medicine approach with meditation, yoga, moving your body. And then when that does not work, maybe look into Western medicine is the whole approach. So, yeah, educate yourself on what you can, and don't ever let anyone tell you that your health isn't important or try to find a way to degrade what it is you're going through. I experienced a lot of that when I was dealing with my polycystic ovarian syndrome or even like some mental health like anxiety, depression, OC, like all that kind of stuff. And I was often told, especially in the Black community, you don't have that. And no, you have bodily autonomy. So you know how it feels when you're not feeling okay, because no one knows you better than you know yourself. So try to stay away from the stigmatizations of what we are destined to believe and what we're told, and just try to be in tune with yourself. No one could ever take that away from you. And with that being said, you want to listen to your body. Your body can detect when it doesn't feel safe, when it's in a constant state of stress. All that stuff can be detected through the body. And it's a beautiful thing if you allow it the space of what it's meant to do. Um, so I also invite you to find something from this workshop that you can take. And even if it's, like I said, 2 minutes out of your morning or your night, do something for you every day. We are constantly every day doing stuff, whether if it's work, school, competition, practice, even if it's 2 minutes out of your day, I really invite you to find something that you can implement into your life that really protects your wellness. And in this context, that means you are more beyond your sport. Like I shared earlier with my experience, health is a beautiful journey. It's not a destination. So you want to make sure that you don't have this idea that like, oh my gosh, I learned all this stuff today. So like now I need to go meditate. I need to like do what you can, even if it's once a week. Just start to invite the space for all these practices into your life. And I promise you, you will see a change in how you feel. When you start your day with mindfulness, it really just makes the rest of your day intentional. Your senses are more aware. We didn't get into all like the scientific research behind it, but your senses are more aware, you're more conscious, you have more of an open mind. And lastly, it's not just our well-being, it's what we eat, what we believe, what we consume, and who we let into our lives. And then lastly, this is a resource page. So like I said, understand that the work does not stop here. So I want you to think about this workshop and what you learned today. And I just have some resources here on the side that you can implement. So whether if it's mine, you want to practice mindfulness, visualization is something that I just learned about one of our workshops at Temple. We have a mandatory wellness meeting once a month through Temple Athletics. And we just learned about visualization and how you can actually program your mind to visualize success. So in the context of competition, you could close your eyes and really even feel what it feels like to, in my sense, be in the blocks, or what it feels like to hold the basketball or go across the finish line. Like that is very powerful. And so that's something that you can practice. You want any more information on that, let me know. Gratitude, I think we are often so times wrapped up in what we don't have or what we still need to get to. But simply just acknowledging what you're grateful for once a day, or in that given moment. Like right now, I'm grateful for all of you for joining and allowing me to share all this information with you. That is very powerful. It has a way of making us feel appreciative, and just sometimes we're living in the stuff that we've prayed for without even realizing that. So you can also do a 5-minute brain dump. Body, obviously as a student athlete, we're moving our bodies every day, but I don't mean with what is just mandated out of us. Breathing, meditation, yoga, walking. A body scan is something that's programmed on the Open app. So you can actually do certain kind of breathing that alerts your body to be aware of what it's feeling. So I did this actually yesterday, and I was like, oh wow, like my back is actually really sore. And it's because I'm inviting the space for my body to basically be scanned. Like it sounds very like whoa, but it's very interesting. You can do box breathing. These are all different kinds of meditation and breathing exercises that you can implement. So I know we didn't talk a lot about nutrition because that would have been too complex, but also pay attention to what you're eating. Sometimes when we eat certain things, it can make us feel very foggy, or it can just make us feel very like fatigue and all that kind of stuff. So that's also an important part when it comes to your body. So, we all talked about our whys today. So remember to try to locate your why, especially when you are not feeling motivated. That is very important to remind yourself of why you do what you do. You also want to practice your daily affirmations and your reflections. And then lastly, these are some books that I personally have read. I'm currently reading The Body Keeps the Score. I'm reading it more in a clinical sense because it's what I want to do, but helped me to understand and appreciate my body. And we act so much out of our bodies and our minds every day. And to actually understand its functions, at least to me, that's very interesting when we're putting so much stress and expectation on what the body can do. The Four Agreements really helped me. How to Do the Work by Nicola Pera. And then here are some apps, like I said, Open. I've been using that. It's amazing. Headspace, Calm, and then white noise, brown noise. These also can be programmed through like YouTube, but it's just like the frequency of what we heard like a couple minutes ago with the breathing exercise. There is science behind certain sounds and certain frequencies that can make you feel more relaxed or make you feel more focused. So white noise and brown noise is a favorite of a lot of people's. So you can also use that. And then time limit on the phone. That's not an app, but try to just be intentional. I need to practice what I preach with just how much media you're consuming. I know that it can be very hard to limit and it can feel addicting. But that stuff has a way of weighing on us, especially what's going on right now in today's current climate. So just make sure you're paying attention to how much time you're actually spending on social media and on your phone. And then, health is not just what you eat or how you feel. So just pay attention to what you're consuming and how this makes your big three feel. And I'm actually about to, for the first time, do a sound bath on Tuesday. I've never done that before. So just try like random things that you feel like could help you influence what we talked about today. And then I just have my questions. I want to thank you all for being here tonight, for listening and opening with me. And now I invite the floor for any questions or reflections, anything you want to share.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
What was it that you said you were trying? So, sun bath?
A sound bath. So it's basically like a frequency thing where there's a bunch of bowls and someone is basically tapping on it and creating sounds, but like naturally. So it's not like something you would hear like music. It's like creating frequencies that stimulate the mind. It's very interesting. So I'm going to go do that this week. I'm on spring break right now, so I feel like it's the perfect time to take advantage of that.
Where do you go do something like that?
If you like look around, if you really research, like if you put sound baths near me or holistic wellness near me or meditation, like really just search it. Literally just put holistic wellness and you can find things around you. That's how I found a lot of this stuff. Like basic search, wellness. You can find a lot.
That's cool. All right.
Thank you for the question. Anybody else have any questions or anything they want to share?
I want to say something. I read the Four Agreements at some
Mhm.
time in my life. Man, that really gave me some clarity on a lot of different things, man. That one,
Yeah.
and forget my language, but the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yes,
That
I've heard about
was a banger
that too.
too.
Yeah.
I started reevaluating things after reading out, so I definitely feel.
I have to pick up on that, but thank you for sharing. Yeah, the Four Agreements, I also read that in a very hard time in my life. But basically, the premise of the book is to identify what the author believes are the four agreements to living your life. So some of them are like, don't ever take anything personal, words being powerful. And I'm not remembering the other two, but it's very important. So if anyone wants to read that, it's a good read. Anybody else want to share? You could even put it in the chat. You don't have to take your mic off or anything.
I just think you did a great job, Siani. Really proud of you. Took a lot of, takeaways and everything like that. So that's amazing. Something that I want to get into is the sound bath. This was my first time also hearing about it, but I'm looking forward to seeing what that's about. And then this kind of inspires me to continue on my journey of just trying different things in spirit of holistic wellness. Like in my area, I'm near Virginia-ish, sort of. They got this thing called goat yoga, where you be doing like yoga, and there's like little
Yeah.
baby goats and lambs like
Yeah.
licking you, and it's just like a nice little holistic, different type of situation. So I really like what you did, and I'm encouraged to continue to try different holistic things.
Thank you so much for sharing. Actually, in my area in Philly, they have goat and cat yoga too. So you can like do yoga and it'll be like dogs and cats and everything running around. You could do it in the pool too. There's some places where they'll do like sound bath and requires a little bit more trust, but you're like blindfolded and you're laying on like a board essentially in the water, like a surfboard almost, and you're just laying and listening to the sound bath. Yeah, but thank you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. And any more questions, just let me know. I think all of you have my contact information. If not, I'll put it in the chat. But thank you so much, guys. Have a great rest of your night.
For sure, for sure. Great job once again, Siani. Really appreciated that. I'm not gonna lie, I got a lot of things to try. Especially especially the sound bit. I might have to tap into that.
Yeah.
But everybody just know that we have one more workshop coming up next week to end this series that we have started. Once again, congratulations, Siani, especially doing it all on your own. A feat to be well respected for sure. So everybody enjoy your week, and we hope to see you next week as we end out our series. Have a good one.